on the business side, if there are 3 companies that do something, or use that information, because it's easy for one company to subtract. We can say in this neighborhood, people, or in this area, people are dying of this kind of disease, but we cannot mention. So I will give you an example. In 2020, there were 4 children aged 11 years that gave birth to children and went to Home Affairs to register there. No, not 23. 5 were aged 12. 58 were aged 13. 58 were 13. 14 were about 272. Department of Social Development came and said, give us that information. We want to go and target these children so that we can help them. Give us their information, their ID numbers, and where they stay. And they met with me. I was having my laptop, my iPad, and the numbers were there, and I refused. In research, you cannot release the information or the identities of the people you talk to. Department of Social Development must go and do their work to be able to identify them in the society. Home Affairs is free to release that information, but I can't release that. The second issue is this, in relation to confidentiality. The SARS commissioner is my friend, very good friend. But I don't tell him where the taxpayers are. We have information about your income, the income of everyone, but it's not our job to tell him. He's the one who must give me the business register, but I can't tell him where they are. The Minister of Police, Minister Kele, former minister and now Minister Mkunu, good friends of mine. I don't tell them where the illegal immigrants are. The statistician general is responsible for everyone within the borders of South Africa, legal or illegal. I'm not promoting illegality, but as we are seated now, illegal immigrants are using our roads. When they go on the freeway doesn't ask them, are you legal or illegal? When they press a light on the wall, it doesn't ask them, are you legal or illegal? When they use an ablution facility, imagine the risks, health risks and other challenges we would have if we don't plan for them. President Trump tried in his first administration to want to know how many people of Mexican origin are illegal. The census almost stalled. So it's one of the ethics. When you are researching, if you research for service delivery, you must make sure that it reaches everyone. Unless if you are researching on the issue of who's legal and illegal, but they will run away because you have no other way to know. If you ask them, are you legal or illegal in the country? Because you can't ask them for ID. Most of them don't have documents. They will run away. And if you exclude all of them, for example, we asked a long question, were you here in the last 5 years? So don't ask directed questions. Another issue is prepare people if you will ask them invasive questions. Particularly your demographic and health survey. If you want to talk about people's sexuality, look at the issues. It's in our culture, it's disrespectful to send young people to go and ask old people about their sexuality. But our field workers are young people. So we have to go and prepare in publicity that will send young people. They are not disrespecting you, they just want to understand so we can record and they cooperate. The last thing again in relation to ethics is that we must know that the data we have is gold. And everyone is looking for this data. People are busy. Every day we get calls from marketeers who claim that there's a national database where they get their numbers. It's not a national database. There's never a national database that supplies our numbers. Someone is selling our numbers to them. Data can be sold provided it removes identifiers. But when someone calls you and they know your cell number, your ID number, and how many cars you have, it's much more worrying. And then there's an issue finally that we must guard against. There are so many people who will emerge like they are doing research for a university. and they are criminals. So we must also protect the respondents. Thanks.
Thank you so much, Mr. Maluleke, for your response. And I would like to, colleagues, we are running out of time for sure. So unfortunately enough, I don't have my time with me because we don't use watches anymore. My cell phone, I left it there. That's the one that I use it for time. So don't worry. We'll just request at least 2 questions before we can come to wrap up. We'll request 2 questions. One, oh, I've already seen two of them. Okay? You are noted, you are recognized. You can pose your question. Then we'll come to you, right? No, noted in front. I mean, you are noted, he can proceed. Please, number 1, right. Okay, okay. I can see that people, they are burning, they've got burning issues, but we have to relax a little bit. Okay, they can come.
Thank you very much, Program Director and SG. And the panelists, the other panelists that are there. You know, when you were talking, I felt like if I had a maths or statistics teacher like you, I would probably have proceeded and you know, pursued a career in either mathematics or statistics. Because our teachers back then would make mathematics and statistics so scary that you just want to get the minimum qualification in the minimum pass there and you leave it. But going to your presentation, I think others have already said you presented well and I concur. There are 2 issues that I would want to, you know, pick back on. The first one is there's a long held, you know, if you read the development theories, there's a correlation between poverty levels and high fertility. It's argued that developed societies tend to have low fertility because you know, they are enlightened, they have other economic activities to focus on, whilst poorer communities tend to have high fertility. So your statistics tend to confirm that, because you look at Limpopo and Eastern Cape, high fertility rates. You look at Gauteng, low fertility rates. So it's an observation that I made. Then when I looked at all those numbers, particularly when it comes to issues of the numbers in terms of where do we have large numbers in the demographics, and you find that Limpopo is a lot of young people. I said to myself, I would want to do a follow-up on the budgets of Limpopo, say from 2022, and see whether the budgeting in the province talks to the numbers that are there, or the numbers that you produced. Because obviously, when you have statistics like this, your biggest investment must go to education, for example. It must go to the healthcare system, whether it's maternal, because high fertility, maternal healthcare. It must go to child healthcare, and so forth and so forth. Thank you very much. I think those are the 2 issues that I picked in your presentation.
Okay. Thank you, colleagues. Let's just be short to the point as we are running out of time. Yes.
Thank you, Program Director, and thanks to the panelists. My name is Professor Halima Kunyute. I just want to, firstly, as an intervention to one of the challenges that has been raised about collaboration, to say that we have a forum where all 54 municipalities converge, which I chair, and all provincial departments equally. It's called the Provincial Capacity Building Forum, and I'm extending an invitation to the Statistic General to actually come and present on the statistics that have been here, because one of my responsibilities is to ensure that the conformation and delivery mode within the municipal space is aligned to research, which was deliberate. And we also have all the parastatals that sit there. So you have, in essence, almost 300 institutions at this particular platform, which I chair specifically. So for the awareness campaign, I think the statistics that have been projected here will assist in the development of the future plans for all these sectors collaboratively. Secondly, on the aspect of having to use the statistics and the institutions, my take is that as academia, fortunately, one is both in academia and government, which gives me the advantage to balance out the field in terms of merging hands-on practicality with content which is sourced from the academic perspective. So I think for me also the other opportunity is on the rural component, wherein what we are seeing now, we are actually auditing the traditional institutions. And all in all, that is part of the focus with the new dispensation in terms of empowerment. And one of the key gaps that we've realized is them having information to drive the economic sector within the rural areas, which is where I would think as well there could be enforcement, but also capacity building in this particular arena is a challenge. And I'm posing this to the academics specifically. We have signed some collaborative and formulated perspectives on it. So. Thanks.
Yeah. Can we give another person, please?
Thank you, Chair. Thank you very much. My name is James Matuane. I'm just going to be very brief and very quick in terms of asking my questions. The first question is on, I'm going to ask a question that is of national interest, of course. I know that in your presentation, it was sort of like a comparative kind of presentation, but the focus was more on Limpopo, which we really appreciate. I want to know from the SG, the percentage nationally in terms of farm killings in South Africa. But secondly, I want to know about the percentage in terms of farm evictions in South Africa. What are the percentages in terms of the two? Lastly, I want to know about the percentage in terms of the land that is in the hands of white people in South Africa. That's another question. The last question from my side, I want to know about the percentage of the land that is in the hands of black people in South Africa. That's why I said when I started that my question is of national interest. And thank you so much. I want to see something. I want to see something. Thank you so much, SG.
Thank you. I hope there are still two. Okay. Let's accommodate two.
Okay, thank you. My name is Florence Mabunda from Limpopo Provincial Treasury. Maybe I just want to comment on the issue of fertility. I am born and bred in Limpopo. You must remember that we have got teenage pregnancies. It's one of my contribution to your question. We have got teenage pregnancies, and those children, when they grow, they will leave their children to go to Gauteng to further their studies, and they will be leaving the kids with their grannies. And hence, now when you look into the statistics of the social grant, Eastern Cape and Limpopo is the highest. So, and I think there is a saying that says, the poor get children and the rich get richer. So those people are not busy, those who are fertile more often than not. And then the other thing, in the interest of time, I just want to comment about why Limpopo and Eastern Cape will remain poor if government doesn't do anything in terms of turning around or changing the policy of education and the curriculum. When the examination starts, It's in my area where I grew up, there will be no student who will be writing information technology examination at matric. So innovation is not gonna be there. There is no university around Limpopo and Mpumalanga that I know that offers architecture, geology, medicine. I mean medicine in full. For an example, I've got a friend who wanted to go into the practice of ophthalmology. She had to do the short courses because she can't leave the children in Limpopo and go and study at vets or wherever. So her career is limited. She will have to remain not as a specialist when it comes to that. So the universities in our in our provinces, if they are not turned around, because the course that I want to do, it cannot be offered in the University of Limpopo. University of Limpopo will just offer me general knowledge, kind of the courses that I am not willing to do. So if we don't turn around, if we don't decentralize the universities in terms of ensuring that when I want to do actuarial science, I can get it in Limpopo, we must forget about growing Limpopo. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Dr. Musa?
Thank you very much. I think in terms of this whole issue of the fertility, we also have the highest maternal death rate in the country. It is actually shocking. I don't have the latest statistics with me, but I think at some stage it was like 174 out of 1,000. I first thought it must be wrong, but that is a challenge. And then also our infant mortality is also very high. The days between the ages of when born at 5 in the province is also extremely high. Then another challenge that we have, and I think the SG already stated they have budget constraints. But can we afford as a country not to have more provincial statistics available, official statistics? Because we are now dependent on private data providers like the global insights of this world, and I think it is wrong. Thank you.
Thank you, colleagues. I think that, colleagues, we are going to stop it there. We can discuss it throughout the day. It's a very sensitive issue. And I don't think that we will really allow a doc to respond to all the questions. But what I've heard, most of them, they are recommendations and comments, except the ones of Dr. Matuani, which I'm not sure whether, Mr. Maluleke, do you have answers for him? He's the one that asks questions. The rest, they are just comments and recommendations. And I'm not sure whether we can give you, Mr. Mazzi?
Let me, I think...
they gave me 2 minutes to complete.
Okay.
And we're going to give our panelists at least 30 seconds for their messages before we close. Thank you. You can
Just a quick one. We do not have the percentage of farm killings in the country, or farm evictions, because we don't measure that, but we would be more than willing to have to measure that in a sense that if we are funded and we are funded on project basis, and this matter gets raised and we don't decide on what gets funded. We only decide the methods. The policymakers come and raise these issues. We do measure death, but causes of death, but we only get them from Home Affairs. But causes of death, when the doctor writes, they write it's assault. They don't say assault on the farm or assault anywhere. And if someone has died of complications, they don't write, they can write the address, but we are not in a position to know whether it was a farm or it was at home. In terms of land that is owned by white and black, we don't have that, but the Surveyor General has that information on land ownership. Thanks.
Thank you so much, colleagues. We agreed that we won't be able to respond to all the questions. And I still know that there are so many people who are still waiting to ask some question, Mr. Maluleke. But time is not on our side. I will use this opportunity to request the last messages from my two panelists. Just 30 seconds, 30 seconds. Before we come to the
All
closure,
right.
Mr. Maluleke will close.
Thank you so much. No, from me, from what I got today from the SG, I think what going forward from the good work that is being done is just to make sure that the available information is given to everyone so that every other citizen knows what is happening statistically in the country. That is what I could say. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I would like to conclude by saying there is lots of information in the room only. How about those who could not manage to come here? So to me, I'm saying I hope there's a team that is identifying key issues that are coming out right now, so that at least they can be taken further. So how best can we tap into this insightful information which is coming from States SA, and we make good use of it? Perhaps there could be a roundtable discussion and see how best we can resolve all these other issues that are emanating. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Prof. Can we give Mr. Maluleke the last word? Just 30 seconds.
One is we need to invest in futuristic technology. When I opened my input, I started by King Mzilikazi. King Mzilikazi could not read and write, Lazi. And because he could not read and write, it is just by sheer accident that someone documented his story. What could have happened if it was never documented? Now we are capable, all those of us who are here. Actually, Ms. Mabunda raises a point in her questions. What is it that we will do to encourage our provinces, not Limpopo alone, to attract the best? It means we must invest in futuristic technology. Professors from all over the world, academics, to help us set up the best faculties and schools. If we start in artificial intelligence and high tech, they would want to come and experiment here. But if we want to still go the old way of teaching only history and social studies, nobody will come here. Not that they are not important, but nobody will come here. And let me apologize, Lazi. When I was seated there, I know you want me to stay until sunset, and I would want to stay and have dinner, but I was informed that I may be needed back in Pretoria. Thanks.
Colleagues, can we give a round of applause to our panelists? And to Mr. Maluleke, you did your role. Really, we are releasing you. We don't even have any complaint. You did your role. Thank you. Colleagues, at the end of the day, thank you for listening to me. And it's not only the responsibility of State South Africa, it is also our responsibility as such. Okay. They have to remain a little bit. Sorry. They request just to wait for a little bit. Thank you.
Including the facilitator. What's going to happen now as we wrap up this session is that I'll make my last remarks, but otherwise we have tokens of appreciation that we're going to hand over to our panelists. They said including the facilitator, and we'll take a group photo, and Dr. Malinde will come over to announce issues relating to the reprioritization of the program now that we are out of time. But from my side, just to say that thanks so much for the time you've given us and enduring this long program. We ran out of time. But I also want to make a disclaimer that all the views I